The Oil and Gas Climate Initiative is a CEO-led consortium that aims to tackle climate change and accelerate the transition to a low-carbon future. Bob Dudley, the chair of OGCI and former CEO of BP, talks about what OGCI is doing as the world aims for a healthier, lower-carbon recovery.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Good morning, Susan. Very well. Thank you.
So today we're going to talk about a letter that was just released from the OGCI CEOs about commitment and focusing on what matters. What are these 4 pledges that the CEOs of OGCI talk about in the letter?
The 4 are really a pledge to decarbonize our own companies. And in addition to just the collective pledges, the companies themselves have made some very significant pledges across the spectrum to reduce their emissions going forward. So that's one. And the second pledge in this letter is just to continue strongly to support, develop, implementation of scale-up of innovative low-carbon solutions. We do this through climate investments, OGCI's climate investment funds. And the third commitment of the companies is to work with and scale up carbon capture, use, and storage projects. And just last week, 3 OGCI members, Equinor, Shell, and Total, took the decision to move forward and invest almost $700 million in Northern Lights project, a project with the Norwegian government. And the fourth commitment of the OGCI CEOs is to support governments as they design efficient policies and recovery packages that will accelerate the energy transitions. So it's the pledge of the OGCI CEOs not to do it alone or go it alone, to work with broader groups to build the momentum that the world is going to need as we recover from this pandemic. Not just talking about it, but actually spending, investing, and using their large assets to experiment and work with new innovative technologies. There's no doubt this has been an unprecedented drop in energy markets at the same time as a unprecedented drop in industrial output around that. But again, very long-term businesses. They don't think quarter to quarter. They think year to decade to decade. So that commitment will remain.
In closing, what can OGCI learn from the pandemic, from COVID-19, and apply to combating climate change in the recovery?
Well, I think OGCI and the companies and the individual people in the companies and everybody right now out there in the world is learning how to work differently. So we all have to work differently. And if there's ever a time that we needed to work together more, it's now. You have to do it in new ways. So I find in these times, it used to be easier. You could all sit down in a room and talk. Now we have to listen to each other really, really carefully, value each other's diversity of opinions, still continue to move things forward in a new way, in a new world. Listen not only to each other, listen to our stakeholders, listen to what governments are saying to us, and incorporate that in our thinking as we put together what is a very challenged industry, financially challenged industry, but very long-term in its nature. So again, it's working together, listening together, and then working how to collectively move important things forward.
Excellent. Thank you.